In our daily life, we eat bread, snack on noodles, and even spread jam on toast. But did you know the science behind all that deliciousness? It's polysaccharides, complex carbohydrates doing more than just filling your stomach. Hi everyone, and welcome to our lesson on polysaccharides, the big, bold, and brainy members of the carbohydrate family. Before we jump into the fun stuff, here's an overview of what is to be discussed. And in relation to what we'll be discussing, these are the expected learning outcomes. First, you'll be able to define polysaccharides and describe their general characteristics. Second, you'll be able to explain why they are important in biology and the industry. Third, you'll be able to classify polysaccharides by their function and their composition. And finally, you'll be able to identify and describe common polysaccharides like starch, cellulose, and glycogen. Alright, let's get into it. Carbohydrates come in all sizes, like sugar families. Single sugar, that's a monosaccharide, like glucose. 2, that's a disaccharide, like sucrose. And many sugar units, that's a polysaccharide. Polysaccharides are complex carbohydrates made of hundreds or even thousands of saccharide units linked together. Their general chemical formula is C6H10O5, repeated again and again. Now that we've gone through the definition of polysaccharides, let's now dive deeper into the other aspects that make polysaccharides, well, polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are true macromolecules. Let's break down their superpowers, or in other words, their general characteristics. Polymer size. Polysaccharides are made of hundreds to thousands of sugar units, all linked by glycosidic bonds. Some are straight chains, like cellulose, while others are branched, like starch and glycogen. Solubility. Here is something cool. The bigger and more linear a polysaccharide is, the less soluble it becomes in water. That's because of strong hydrogen bonding and tightly packed crystalline structures. Basically, they're built tough. Thirdly, we have biological roles. Polysaccharides have two main jobs in living things. They store energy, like starch in plants or glycogen in your liver and muscles. They support structure, like cellulose in plant cell walls or chitin in fungi and shells. So now that we've covered the things that make polysaccharides polysaccharides, let's have a quick little game to check for our understanding. Introducing Poly or Not. Let's test your sugar sense. You'll see a word on screen. Shout out poly if it's a polysaccharide, or nah if it's not.
Glucose. Nah. Starch. Poly. Sucrose. Nah. Cellulose. Poly. Chitin. Poly. Fructose. Nah. Glycogen. Poly. Lactose. Nah.
Nice! If you got 6 or more, you're a carb commander. Now that we all know what polysaccharides are and what they're made of, let's ask, why do they matter? They matter a lot to life, industry, and even medicine. First, let's talk about fuel. Why do they matter? They matter a lot to life, industry, and even medicine. First, let's talk about fuel. In plants, starch is stored energy, like nature's rice pantry. In animals, yes, including us, we store energy as glycogen in our liver and muscles. It's like a sugar power bank we tap into when we need energy fast. Without these storage polysaccharides, we'd run out of energy real quick, like a phone with no battery. Now, from power to protection. Polysaccharides also help build structures. Plants use cellulose to build tough cell walls. It's like the bricks in plant architecture. And in animals, like insects and crabs, chitin forms exoskeletons, nature's armor. Here is something wild. We humans can't digest cellulose. Our stomachs just aren't built for it. But cows, sheep, and other ruminants, they've got a secret weapon. Special microbes in their stomachs that break cellulose down for them. This allows them to turn grass, which is low in protein, into high protein meat and milk. So, in a way, many of the proteins we eat actually begin with plant polysaccharides. Polysaccharides aren't just for biology, they're big in the industry too. Cellulose is used to make paper, textiles, and wood products. So yes, your notebook, your t-shirt, and your bookshelf, all polysaccharide powered. Polysaccharides help make your food delicious too. Starch derivatives thicken soups and sauces. Pectin make jellies gel. Without them, your jam would be jamless. And in medicine and biotech, they're total game changers. Hyaluronic acid and alginate are used in wound dressings, drug delivery, and tissue engineering. Yup, rebuilding actual tissues. These aren't just sugars anymore, they're lifesavers. Now that we've seen what polysaccharides can do, let's organize them into neat little categories. Polysaccharides can be grouped in two main ways, by their function and by their composition. First up, function. What the polysaccharide does. Storage polysaccharides are like sugar vaults. They store energy for later use. Examples: starch in plants and glycogen in animals. Structural polysaccharides are nature's building materials. They give cells shape and protection. Think cellulose and plant cell walls and chitin in insect exoskeletons. Now, let's look at composition, what they're made of. If a polysaccharide is made from just one type of sugar, it's a homopolysaccharide. Examples: cellulose and starch. Both are made entirely of glucose. If it's made of more than one type of sugar, it's a heteropolysaccharide, like pectin and hyaluronic acid. These play roles in cell signaling, tissue structure, and even wound healing. Okay, terms like homo and hetero might sound fancy, but all they mean is same sugars versus mixed sugars. Easy. Now that we've sorted them out, let's meet the VIPs of the polysaccharide world. These are the ones you've seen and maybe even eaten without realizing how powerful they are. Let's break them down one by one. Starch is a plant storage polysaccharide made of amylose, which is mostly linear and forms spirals, and amylopectin, which is branched and bulkier. Both are broken down by amylase into maltose, then glucose, your body's energy source. Glycogen is an animal starch, your body's sugar reserve. It's highly branched, stored in the liver and muscles, and released quickly when your cells need energy. Controlled by hormones like insulin and glucagon. Cellulose is a structural polysaccharide in plants. Made of beta-1 4-linked glucose, it forms straight chains that stick together through hydrogen bonding. Humans can't digest it, but it acts as dietary fiber, keeping digestion on track. Chitin is a tough structural polysaccharide made of glucosamine. It's found in fungi, insects, and crustaceans. And beyond nature, it's used in medicine, food, and even water purification. Whether they're fueling your body, strengthening a tree, or building a crab shell, these polysaccharides are tiny molecules with massive impact. Alright, we've covered the classics. Now let's look at some lesser known polysaccharides with big responsibilities in health and science. But instead of me just listing them, let's play a game.
A short description pops up. 2 choices appear. Viewers guess which polysaccharide matches it.
This polysaccharide is found in your skin and joints. It holds water like a sponge to keep tissues hydrated and cushioned. Hyaluronic acid. Used in blood plasma expanders and drug delivery. Made by bacteria. Dextran. An anticoagulant that prevents blood clotting. Common in hospitals. Heparin. A polysaccharide from red algae. Used to grow bacteria in petri dishes and thicken desserts. Agar. Got them all? Nice work! These sugars may not be sweet, but they sure are smart. Stick around, because next, we're putting your knowledge to the test with a quick activity. It's time to apply, evaluate, and show what you've learned. Let's do this! Alright, we've explored the science behind polysaccharides. Now, it's your turn to apply what you've learned. For your home task, choose 3 everyday items like rice, bread, paper, or shells. And for each one, you have to identify the polysaccharide present, classify it as storage or structural, and homo or hetero polysaccharide, then explain its function or importance in 2 to 3 sentences. Write your answers on a clean sheet of paper or in your notebook, and take a photo for checking in our next class. Wow, we've covered a lot of sweet stuff today. Let's take a moment to rewind and remember the big ideas about polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are large, complex carbohydrates made of sugar units linked together. They can be storage molecules like starch and glycogen, or structural heroes like cellulose and chitin. We classify them by function, storage versus structural, and by composition, homo or hetero polysaccharides. And they're everywhere, in plants, animals, food, textiles, medicine, and more. By now, you should be able to define polysaccharides and describe their general characteristics, explain their biological and industrial roles, classify them based on their function and composition, and finally, identify and describe the structure and function of common polysaccharides. Let's put all that learning to work. You'll work in small groups. I'll give each group a simple everyday item or scenario. Your task is to 1. Identify the polysaccharide involved. 2. Classify it. Is it storage or structural, homo or hetero polysaccharide? And finally, explain its function or importance in that context, just briefly. You'll have 2 to 3 minutes to discuss, and then we'll hear from a few groups. Ready? Let's classify those carbs together. Now, as to see if learning was really complete and to check if the learning outcomes were truly accomplished, let's take a summative quiz using quizzes. This will be asynchronous, and please use the code provided. It covers true or false questions, multiple choice questions, a matching type, 1 short essay, and a real-world scenario-based question. Thanks for sticking with us. Until next time, stay curious, stay complex, and never stop asking what's in your carbs.